This might be working. Hopefully. Okay. Should chuck a Twitter thing up there. Is it actually working, is it? Yeah, cool. Oh great, I've got to log into Twitter. I haven't done that in ages. Okay, if you're here then say hello in the chat so I know you're here. I was been talking to myself for ages and that's not really the point. Oh, I've got a notification saying we're live. Yay. Hey Ray, hey Fled. Yes, I'm not where I normally am, which is why I cancelled the previous live stream. Just want to get this publicised a bit more, hopefully get more people turn up. I just have to get into everything. I don't really use this thing for doing YouTube stuff, so it's a bit disjointed. Okay. That's that done. Okay, happy with that. Yeah, chat session only because I've got, well, no ability to be, well, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. I'm not at home right now. It's yeah, there's a lockdown. There's a lockdown happened, so that kicked in at 6 o'clock this morning. So I had the choice of staying at home for a week and working on projects and not going to work and potentially not getting paid, or jumping in the bus and parking up somewhere of an undisclosed location and be able to go to work. So I chose that option. So of course there's a border restriction, it means I can't actually get to work because I don't have an exemption because it's really, really bad getting that processed, and despite trying 3 times, it's never been done once. So anyway, it's a bit weird using these. I'm not sure I need them actually. Just hard to talk. Yeah, so the wife is sitting on the other side of the table, heaping away. Yeah, so I thought I'd have a catch up anyway. I mean, I can't do any projects in here, but I thought I'll get the laptop going and fire it up. Lighting's probably not the best, is it? Oh, is that worse or better? Probably worse. So, wife's here, asking who's cooking the food. They must think I'm incapable of looking after myself. I'm kind of right. Yes. Anyway, so I've got a different cup today. I've got more. Yeah. It's a merchandise cup. Prodigy. Actually, I might need this mic. Is that still too far away now? Actually, I can't even. Because I've got this mic plugged in. If I unplug this, what happens? Probably does a horrible. still doing something. Hope the audio's okay like that. Let me know. Yes, I thought I'd just have a little chat session, just hang out a little bit. Why not? Kill some time. So I've now got to sit in this bus for a week. No bad or not bad? No, it's bad or? Never know. This is the laptop microphone now, whereas before I was using the earphone mic because that's what's plugged in. Not used to this whole zoomy thing, as it were. It's a very different setup to what I normally use. No vaccine for me then. Well, I'm not anti-vaccine. I just wouldn't want to be one of the first ones myself. This is my opinion. I do recommend other people get it because, you know, I just don't want to be a human guinea pig. You know, who knows what effect it's going to have in a year. After a year, sure, but I just don't want to be one of the first people to do it. Bad. Plug the mic back in. Okay then. I'll plug the mic back in. I suppose I'll stick these in my ears, am I? Okay, back on the microphone. Yeah. So, what's everyone up to? Obviously, I'm not fixing anything right now because, you know, it's not a place where I can do electronics work. Yeah, a bit mystery location, definitely. Yeah, yeah, I'm not home, and I'm going to be sitting in this bus for about a week at least, maybe longer. Yeah. So yeah, no repairs today. I thought I'll just, you know, have a chat because we tend to do that anyway. Yeah, a bit of talking. Did I stack the Model 2? Oh yeah, I haven't worked on those for a while. Is that the 50 channel version? Model 2? I don't remember. Yeah, that's, yeah, so the choice was to stay at home and work on projects for a week, potentially longer, not being able to get to work because the processing of exemptions to get to work is ridiculously slow. I did a manual application myself in the last lockdown and I got told I had to use a different process even though I couldn't use a different process because a different process requires an application from the employer. So I couldn't apply for it, the employer has to apply for it and they didn't even bother last time. Yeah, even though I'm supposed to be there in this plant that doesn't run if I'm not there, which is kind of weird anyway. There's certain bits of equipment which can't be started up or repaired by anyone other than me. So, yeah. Anyway, so I thought, well, rather than risking not being able to go work for a week, because chances are the exemptions won't come through in time anyway, I thought, well, I'll come and park up at the motorhome and within the boundary, and at least then I'm still going to work. 40 channel limit high, okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I've worked on those things, so I've worked on a couple of those ones. Was it the PTBM 11, was it 121 something? PTBM 121, is that, or was it 135? I don't actually have my CV information with me, I don't have any of that on this computer. Well, Impromptu holiday, not really. What happens when they do the lockdown in the Auckland boundary, because they actually do enforce the actual border, so they actually stop people going through the border, right? So what happens is all these people which are within the Auckland boundary, which are supposed to be locking down and restricting the movements, they'll quickly go on holiday, and there's tens of thousands of people disappearing out of Auckland last night. Midnight, the roads were crammed at midnight, and normally they're pretty empty. So there's all these people leaving Auckland, which is, I think I disagree with that. I've gone into Auckland, which isn't spreading a virus, is it? It's potentially infecting me, but I'm not spreading it because I'm staying within the boundary, not going backwards and forwards or leaving the area which is supposed to be locked down. So, anyway, that's my opinion. So I'll spend a week in the bus. And potentially longer if it locks down for longer than that. We'll see. But I might get sick of it by then, go back home and decide to take the time off work instead. Depends how much I can put up with it for. Normally it's just a weekend, sometimes every weekend. I don't normally do the internet stuff and this, obviously. So I've got a whole bunch of video editing I can do, so that's going to keep me a little bit busy. So yeah, I've got loads of videos there today. I think I've got about half a dozen videos I can edit, maybe more, just the electronic stuff. And I've also got probably another dozen I could do for the dashcam channel, something like that. And I've got some code I can do as well. So I've got some things to keep me busy. I don't fish. And I'm not parked up anywhere. Well, no, there's nothing here anyway. I'm not sure if we'll catch anything around here. Maybe from drains. I'm in an urban area. I can't hear. What?
Just seen the cell tower. That's why we've got a really good signal.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, but near the cell tower, so I got a really good 4G signal, so I was getting like 75 megabit or something I was getting. I did a test last night. So, that's working all right. Yeah, anyway. I need like more screens. I'm not used to having this one screen. It's a bit more. Got chat down one side over here and trying to do OBS in another section of it. Anyway. The only problem is being in a bus in summer. It gets a bit warm. It's currently 30 degrees in here. I think I'll wipe up the window a bit further. It's nice. So, fishing for compliments. No. If I try fishing for compliments, he said. No. So because my house is outside the Auckland boundary, this is the issue, is that I work in Auckland and I live outside of the Auckland boundary, and so when they do lockdowns, I cannot get to work. And a lot of other people in the same situation as well, because it's like a commuter town sort of thing. There's several of them, and means people can't get to work, and there's no actual coverage from the government for that situation. They say if the business loses 30% of their income or something, then they can claim stuff from the government, right? Which is fine. But if the company is still operating and certain individuals from the company can't get there, such as myself, there's no large loss and they can't claim for it, so I potentially don't get paid. Which is why I decided to do this. Because at least I'm not going to potentially lose a week's pay. Bit inconvenient. A lot of things I can't do, but yeah. How many cases were there? Well, what it was, there were some idiots. I'm definitely going to call them idiots. So there was a small outbreak at a school cluster, really small, just half a dozen people or something like that. Not much at all. And it's kind of under control, but some of the people which are supposed to be self-quarantining themselves for 14 days didn't. And they were still going to work and stuff like that and going around, going shopping, and one of them, this is the stupidest thing, one of them knew he was sick, he went to a doctor's, got a COVID test, then went to a gym. And because this person hasn't been taking any precautions whatsoever, now Auckland is in lockdown. Because one person was an idiot. All the other stuff was under control, is being managed, it is alright. But this one person's locked down Auckland because of their behaviour. Ridiculous. So I'm living in the bus for a week because one person wouldn't stay home and do the right thing. Yeah, so anyway, it's better to be this way and under control than not. It's far better to actually have a bit of inconvenience than to potentially have half the country dying, getting infected and a proportion that dying. Sure, there's some islands and ship those people to. Nah, there's no helping some people. Yeah. Anyway. So there's lots and lots of people which are rather annoyed at this particular person for obvious reasons. Oh, there are some. I don't know. There are some people saying stupid stuff like, don't wear the mask and stuff like that. Don't wear masks. And, some idiots like that over here as well. I don't know how they get sucked into it. It's like the masks do something. They reduce it slightly. They don't fix it completely. They reduce the risk. Anything which reduces it is a good thing, isn't it? I'm not a religious person at all. I'm not going to sort of go on about religion and stuff like that because it will offend someone. Maybe people which watch this or followers of my channel which are religious. Everyone can believe what they want. I don't care. I don't believe myself. If you want to believe, it's great. It's up to you. I'm not going to tell you what to think. Anyway. We've had 163 days of lockdown. Ooh. Yeah. That's a lot of home time, isn't it? How much have we had? We've had... This is our third lockdown, isn't it? Third one. The first one was the biggest one. That was, what, a month? 6 weeks. Yeah, 6 weeks was the first one. The last one was 3 days, and this one's a week. So, not too bad. Could be a lot worse. Oh dear. Anyway.
Oh, this is number 4.
Is it fourth one? You sure?
Yeah, we had one in March, we had one in August, we had the 3-day in Valentine's, and this is number 4.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't kidding.
This is the 4th one. One in August was 2 weeks.
Oh, damn it. It's just a blur. It's a blur of projects and things being done. Yeah, anyway. So the other thing about lockdown, something I do get to stay home, is that I do work on things. But then I found that the longer it went on for, the less productive I got. So the very first lockdown, I got a lot done. It's really good. Second one, not so much. Third one, apparently, not so much. Got stuff done, but it wasn't as productive as it was in the very first one. Because I think it's like the novelty worn off. Yeah. I mean, it is good there's government support for it and stuff like that, but it's... in my situation, other people like me, there is no support if you can't get to work because of a border. There's no subsidies for that from the government to pay for your wages, so you don't get paid, potentially. It relies on the employer being generous. And some employers are, some aren't, some will be generous to a point. Mine has been generous to a point. I'm waiting for that point to happen. And it could be this time. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, this vehicle's quite well fitted out. I mean, obviously I have broadband internet in here. Why not? This isn't through my phone or anything, this is broadband built into the vehicle. So this is what we use at events, this is our events vehicle. So we spend a lot of weekends in anyway. So it's pretty well fitted out, lots of solar power and that sort of stuff. I've got like 720 watts of solar power on the roof. Batteries, I think we've got something like 390 amp hours of battery capacity, something like that. So as far as living in here and this vehicle being long-term use, yes, it's fine. When we had the flood a couple of years ago, we were living in this vehicle for 7 months. between this and the garage. Obviously, still the garage rooms, and I was doing project stuff in there, so I could actually, we were basically using this as a bedroom and a kitchen, basically. But the other rooms were available, but it's middle of summer and it's sticking hot as well, was it wasn't? Yeah. No, let's go to the workshop, yeah. Well, that's what I was doing before, you know, at home. I was just working on projects and catching up with things which I had been meaning to do for a long time, and I got a lot of stuff done. And the last lockdown, I got some stuff done too. That 3-day lockdown, I did, I think I mentioned it in the live stream, the buffering stuff on my, I'll show you, up there. It's up there on the wall. You can just see those boxes there. If I can point, there we go, those are gateway modules which I built. So those are LoRa to Wi-Fi gateways. So basically they get all the data from LoRa for any of the devices we use at events, and they basically hop it over straight to the server, so these talk to the server. So it sends data through serial connection, through LoRa, that unit converts it onto Wi-Fi and talks directly to the server, gets a response to the server, sends it back to the unit. So I finished those, and what I did on the last lockdown is I built buffering into them, so any requests that come in will get buffered and queued up until the server is ready to handle them. But a couple of times where the server stopped responding, even though it shouldn't. It didn't used to do it. It stopped responding for like 20 seconds or so, then the data would potentially be overwritten by incoming data from someone else, and that's causing problems. So I built systems to handle that in other ways, so it'd resend the data if it detected it wasn't received. But it's a bit clunky, so I've now built that so it'll do buffering. So it just queues it up until the server responds, and then it just sends it to the server and handles that. So it's got two-way buffers. It's got an incoming buffer from the LoRa system and a returning buffer from the server. So both ways are buffered. That way it will just work regardless. Whatever falls over, it's going to work. So that's something I've been meant to do for a while. I've got that done at least. But it's still more I need to do. There's always more. There. Anyway, I'll catch up the chat. Minus 35 wind chill. Wow. Yeah, that's a bit cold. Mind you, right now, so it's 30 degrees still. Hasn't popped up anymore yet. But yeah, it's pretty hot in here. That's 30 degrees Celsius, not Fahrenheit, should be clear on that. 30 degrees Fahrenheit sounds slightly better, actually, to be honest.
It's 0, isn't it?
Yes, that's 0. Or 32 zeros, just under 0. Yeah. Hey Peter, how's it going? The purple, are you seeing like the purple tint? Because yeah, the window tint here, I've got really dark windows on this vehicle, so people can't see in, and it gives it a purple tinge. Yeah, it's not my usual lighting setup. Anyway. Not tried Starlink. I did look at that the other day, actually, that Starlink thing. It was expensive. It's like $800 or something just for the equipment. It's like, well, I've already got reasonable internet. The motorhome here uses 4G broadband, so I'm already getting really good speeds anyway. And our home, our broadband is flaky, as you guys know. It has, I don't know, the last few live streams have been really good, but generally during the week it will drop out and play up and stuff like that. So that Starlink one I was looking at the other day thinking, oh, it looks interesting, speeds look great, and with the promise as well of him doubling the speeds in the future. So I thought, oh, that's promising. But the thing with satellite broadband is you get a bigger ping delay. The ping response is slower because it's got to travel further. So it's like a trade-off with satellite stuff. But the actual monthly cost of it didn't look too bad. It's just the initial equipment side of it. But who knows? Maybe if I get absolutely sick of it, then maybe I will. But it's not actually available here yet. It's like a pre-order thing. You know, you can potentially get it in the future. It's not yet. But I think anyway. Don't know. Pretty sure it was said it wasn't available yet. So, at least in my country. I know it's available other places. So, yeah. But yeah, I've got lots of videos to do here. I've got some. Just finished. I've got 2 videos already uploaded, ready to publish. Got mailbag ready for tomorrow. And I've also got a review for the G-Tech A20M dual filament 3D printer. So I've got that coming out later in the week as well. That's all ready to go. It took me 5 hours to edit that video. That's horrendous. Okay, Fred, no problem. Yeah, so 5 hours to edit that. That was kind of annoying. I had 32 gigabytes of footage. I don't know how I got so much footage. I was just recording everything I was doing, and then I was having to chop out a lot as well. Because part of the problem was, though the actual printer build itself was quite easy, it's really simple printer build. It's not like the Ender 3s where you have to do a lot more. These come mostly assembled. You only really got to put in 4 bolts, and to get the frame together, and then you got to put in extrusions and stuff like that. It's not that big a deal, though. It's probably set 2, 4, 8, 12 bolts you got to put in to assemble the whole thing. Then you also got the wiring, plug everything in. But it took me hours. I don't know why it took me so long. But then I had issues because it's a dual filament and it's a mixing head as well, on it as well, so you can do. It's got one nozzle, so you can feed in 2 filaments at once in different proportions, and actually change the colours and do colour mixing within the head itself. Or you can do change over, so you can do one or the other, or whatever, you know, whatever you want to do. You can do that. But the problem I had is getting the configuration set correctly on Cura, so I found Cura had a profile built into it for that particular printer. So I just loaded that profile up and thought, right, that'll be it. I sliced that, ran that through, and when it finished doing the first colour, it stopped, and then complained about the hot end dying. You know, the temperature basically dropped, even though it's trying to heat. It wasn't heating because it switched over. I thought there was a second hot end, or it shut it off or something like that. Anyway, I found out there's a little trick you have to do in Cura. You have to do a post-processing script to set not to turn the hot end off, and then that solved that problem. That's basically what was wrong with that part. And I've still got to do a lot of tuning on it yet, stuff like that. So I did do a print on it, and you will see that in the review video when that comes out in the week. But that was many hours of work. That review, yeah, I think it's something like a $400 printer, a $500 printer, something like that. New Zealand price. I think it's about 300 US, something like that. Maybe 350 US. I'm not sure. And was it $369 US with discount? That's right, remember now. I've got a discount code which is on the review video, so you'll see that too. So if you want to buy one and get a discount. Yeah, so it's quite a good printer in a way. It seems quite robust and well built, but it was a bit of a challenge getting it all working and getting it to do its thing. It's many hours of work on my part, but I'm going to do some follow-up videos as well. I'm going to do a video showing how to set up Cura properly for it, so nobody else gets that issue as well. And maybe doing the models, showing how to set the model maybe. That is pretty easy. That wasn't hard at all. I think I showed it in the Livestream. I think I demonstrated that. So yeah, it's not much at all, but trying to figure out how to get the configuration right is the hard bit. What else have we got to do? I've got about 4 mailbag videos. I've got footage recorded already, so I've got to edit those up. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, thanks, Fred. That's all the information I need at the time. Oh, I'm out of coffee. I was making a coffee for this, nice. I'm sure she wants one too. It's probably what she's doing. No, she's still got one. I'm wrong. Yeah, so what else am I doing? I actually got contacted the other day by A10. ATTEN. They do soldering iron, stuff like that. I actually got one of the old soldering irons, like a soldering station. Hope that's not too loud. I think they were looking basically for trying to drum up sales. So I replied to them, and actually, like I said, contact me through Facebook, I think it was. And I said, email me, so they emailed me. And I said, right, great, I'm interested in doing a sponsorship thing. Here's what I'd like to look at. No response. I don't know, we'll see if that happens or not. Maybe. But also contacted Rohde the other day, because I saw a little review on a Rohde microphone, wireless microphone, which I thought looked quite good. So I contacted them to see if they're interested in sponsorships, and they said they're not looking for anything right now. But they'll be in touch if they're interested. So we'll see. I'm always trying to find sponsorships to do and little review videos, things I can do to just create content, really, if anything you guys might be interested in. So anything like that. I did approach Peak Electronics a couple of times over the years. Initially, when I first contacted them, they were keen to do a sponsorship thing and send me some devices to review. They make these little testers, little transistor testers and diode testers and stuff like that. They're quite little good units. I've got one already. Little FCI meters, things like that. Tiny little things, really good. And for some reason, that never happened. Basically, they were working on a new revision apparently, and I asked to wait until that was done, and I waited, and I emailed them, and no response. It's like, okay, probably not happening now. But then I saw that Learn Electronics, was it Eric? Is his name? Is it Eric? No, I don't think it is. I forgot his name. Eric's someone else. Anyway, the guy does the Learn Electronics. He just reviewed a Peak meter. So obviously, maybe they're looking again now. Maybe I should email them again to see if there's anything else. But mind you, his channel is 10 times bigger than mine, so maybe that's something to do with it. Yes, Fred. Okay. So Fred says the problem with lockdown is that he has to talk to the wife. Well, she talks and he has to listen.
I like this concept. Please tell me more about this concept.
What? Can't hear.
I said I like that concept.
What? Anyway. So yeah, so I'm trying to get stuff to do reviews, which might interest you guys. Always on the lookout for things. It's always nice also to get free stuff. That's a nice bonus. But as another YouTuber said, I can't remember who it was now, they said nothing's really for free because of the amount of effort you put into making the videos. And you got to do the recording, figure out the thing works, record it all, edit it all the publishing, that sort of stuff. By the time we've done all that, it wasn't really free because your hours and time put into that makes it balance out usually. So nothing's really free. But then I do it because I'm creating content and creating stuff for you guys to watch. So that's why I do it. Have I signed up to the next series of Keysight? I mean to. I do mean to. Is it Marco Rips did a video the other day? He's quite funny. He's got a really good sense of humour. I love him. He's got this thing for Keysight. And it's listed. Is it Scope Month? Test to Impress, Wave, all crossed out. And then he's got University at the bottom. It's funny. It was right because every time they keep on changing the name, obviously trying to settle on something which they like the concept of. So university I quite like because that's more of a obviously training aspect to it, which is quite nice. Because that's what they do. They do a lot of education about it as well. You know, teach people to use bits of gear and do testing and stuff like that. It's quite interesting. So. But yeah, we'll be trying to take part of that. So I don't know if any of you guys were around at the time, but when I did the test to impress 2 years ago, 3 years ago, is it? Something like that. I actually won a scope. They chose me in the announcements when I won, so it was pretty good. It was only, wasn't like the main one, but it's one of the lower ones, but it was quite good. Got a free scope out of that, it's quite nice, and that's on my bench. You see that on in my videos, you see it on my shelf. I've got the 3 scopes set up side by side, and the Keysight one's in the middle. So, the wife has provided me a coffee. Coffee Ferry. Anyway. Try and keep the reviews cheap, otherwise you run out of money. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, like the stuff I do for Banggood, right? The reviews I do with Banggood, I basically I'll choose something usually. It's my phone people. I will. I've thrown myself now. So I'll the reviews I do with Banggood, right? So I'll choose something. I'll look at something which interests me, and then I'll get it. Sometimes Banggood might suggest something, and I go, oh yeah, that looks right. I'll get that. Sometimes I go, no, not really. Depends on what it is. So this time as a 3D printer, which I requested, they were sort of on the fence about giving me this one because of the value of it. It's quite an expensive one. But my 3D printer videos usually do okay. I know that they have sold okay from previous tracking and stuff I've done, that people do buy the 3D printer stuff. Not so much as the electronic stuff, it's not as big in that way, but they still get sales from it, so they're sort of on the fence about, price-wise it's quite high. It's sort of on the limit of what I'm really allowed to get. They let me have it though. But sometimes I've done cheap stuff from Banggood, and it's gone really well for that reason, because it's more accessible. You know, more people want to spend $50 rather than spending $300 or $400. You know, so also I want to get my money's worth when I do a video. So if I'm getting something cheap, then I don't want to put too much effort into making it as well. So I don't want something which is going to take me, a day to mess around with recording and editing and stuff like that. For something which is only worth $50. So that's part of it too. I want to get my money's worth out of it at the same time. So I do tend to get the more expensive stuff now. But that said, if I see something which is cheaper, then I'll do it. Hey Dave, how's it going? No, I'm not outside my house, and my wife is with me. She just made me coffee. No, it's because there's a lockdown, so we evacuated into the zone where the lockdown is. We didn't move away from the lockdown; we moved towards it, because that makes sense. But no, it's because we can go to work. That way, we can go to work. That's all. Whereas I'm from in the UK, a couple of places. I basically grew up in Longing, South East London, and then I moved out to a little place called Whitstable in Kent. I lived there for my teenage years, basically. I don't know what's repair. How's it going? I saw you give a plug the other day from, who was it? Who plugged you? I've forgotten whose video it was watched yesterday. You were mentioned because you helped them out. You'll know. Come on, tell me. No, I can't think of the name. You have to tell me. Vince? Was it my mate Vince? Is that one? I think it was. Yeah, smile Vince. There we go. Got it right. Yeah. Got there in the end. yeah, so that's quite a nice little plug for you. Hopefully you got some subscribers from that. I realised yesterday actually I wasn't subscribed to you, so I've subscribed to you myself as well now. I realised I wasn't subbed to you. Because I think you've got what? Yesterday I looked at like 1800, I think, something like 1800 subs. That's when I went to subscribe to you and I realised I hadn't done it. Yeah. Anyway, what I quite like about this is that the chat, I can keep up with it. It's right here. I can keep up with reading the chat. Sometimes it's a bit fast. So, especially if I'm trying to work on something, going back and forth, back and forth. So yeah, if you're sitting there watching and you haven't seen anything in the chat, say hello in the chat. Type something. Well, 1600, 2300, that's nice. That's not a jump. You might find it will keep going up for a little while, in the next week or so, as people watch that video. That's quite good. Nice little boost, isn't it? I know a few years ago, well, this is actually a bit of a story around the whole flood thing as well. EV blog Dave, he did a guest video spot on his channel, and myself and a few other creators made videos to appear in his channel as a guest spot when he's on holiday, January, you know, December, January region. And he did one of my videos on there. I was repairing the Fluke 5200A. I did a video showing diagnosis of the oscillator board where it goes through different phases in the oscillator. I think it does like 90-degree phases, it steps through each something. And at the time I was actually reviewing on a oscilloscope for someone as well. So I was doing a Siglent review. So I had to have a 4-channel scope so I could demonstrate it really well. It was quite good. Although I own one now as well myself, didn't have one at the time. And so Dave did that, and I actually got a 1,000 subscriber boost just from that. Fred, you got 4 subs. Oh, do you make many videos, though, Fred? Do you many? I haven't actually looked, and I don't think I can jump to a channel anymore. Google changed. You better click on people's icons and go to the channel, but you can't do that anymore, which is kind of annoying. Anyway, yeah, so it gave me quite a big boost at the time, and I think I had about 2,000 or 3,000 subs at the time, something like that. So that was quite a big jump. Well, that's how you found me, was it? Anonymous, yeah, that was pretty good. So, and every time Dave mentions me when it's, you know, like at the live stream, or he mentions me on one of his videos, I do get a little boost. It's always nice when he does mention me, because it does. I do actually see a little noticeable jump on the stats saying some of the people subscribe. Unable Maker, haven't seen you here before. Welcome to the channel. You got 4 subs that mind you the videos are rubbish. Have you seen my old stuff? You've got to start somewhere. Just do it. Just make it. Doesn't matter. Do it for you. Because my old stuff was pretty bad. My very first videos, they weren't great. Good content, as in like the actual process I was going through and diagnostics I was showing. Those aspects I think were good. Production quality, rubbish. Shaky hand cam. I actually recently did a playlist for my Fluke 6060B, which I mentioned in tomorrow's video, I think. I did a playlist for that a couple of days ago, because I put all those videos to a playlist, and that's one of my early series. So it's, I think it's video number 82 through to 95, something like one of the very early ones. And the very first video is shaky hand cam, and the very last video I'm using a tripod. So that is actually the series where I started to improve the production quality and use a tripod. Yeah, I was recording on iPhone.
Now you have camera.
Yeah. So one of the things I actually like about the iPhone is the focusing, because the depth of field in the iPhone is really good. So you can get everything focused. Whereas now I'm using a DSLR, I have to mess around with that a lot more and get that to work. So in a way it's a step back, but in other ways it's a step forward, because it's high resolution, better quality, just looks better, picture quality really. It's nice, but there's no reason why you can't record on the phone. Just use a tripod. Buy one, only cheap. Enable Maker is your alter ego. Ah, okay. You mean alter ego? I can't say. Alter ego. Not ultra ego. Alter ego.
The more you say it, the weirder it sounds.
Yeah, I should just shut up. Watched a nice video of a pair of male wallabies fighting. Really? On Tim's Adventures. Never heard of that channel. Oh, right. Normally does sapphire digging. Male wallabies. Right, yes, okay. Just trying to picture it. Yeah, they do. Yeah. With the feet. Fluke I did 4 parts of. Which Fluke? I've done a few Fluke things. Which Fluke would be 4 parts with a 40 chip? Was that the 8842A? I think I did 4 part on that one. I think I just showed it being 40 and I just fixed it. That's like the very first video I did for electronics. Was for electronics repair, I think, was the Fluke 8842A, where the data coming out of it was gibberish. I was trying to decode the analog to digital converter because it wasn't reading correctly, and I did fix it, but I think I only showed the fault. I didn't show anything else, so I posted it in an EV blog. I think that was the very first one I did. Then I think I did a CB one, doing a CB conversion, just demonstrating the CB conversion I designed. Channel conversion using an Arduino Pro Micro, I think it was, or Leonardo. No, it's Leonardo. It's Leonardo because it's got a buzzer on it. Yeah. Need to add a smoke out and bangs to get the viewers. Well, yeah, it does attract people, having him go bang in the video. I did one. I've had a couple of videos where things have gone to smoke. Was it 8647A? I think it was HP 8647A RF signature 9. I think it was. The AC mains input filter blew up, as they tend to do. I've had a couple of those go. Got on the video. Make a lot of smoke and really, really bad smell, which hangs around for weeks. Well, certainly a week, maybe not weeks, but I think 2 weeks later I could still smell it. But it was pretty bad for a week. Don't know how they're making those things, but it stinks. Anyway. Hi, me. Let's go. Inside guy. I haven't seen you here either. You're new here. Recently commenting. The 842 is a nice meter. Surprisingly accurate and stable. Because they're quite old meters now, they've really aged really well. And they're very, very stable. I've got one on my desk. How did I put it away now? I think I have to make room. I'll put it away. Yes, it's not on my bench right now. But I've still got it. It's got a tucked away in a drawer. But that was a very good meter for doing comparisons with, because it's always so stable. You turn it on and it wouldn't drift that much even from turn on. It would drift a little bit, but not much. So it's a very good meter, as long as they're working correctly. Definitely recap it, replace the caps. Yeah, the way it just floats. You put a voltage into it, it'll sit there floating. You don't actually realise the voltage disappeared. But that caught me out a couple of times with that meter actually. I was doing some testing and the voltage had gone because the power supply was off or something. I think I turned it off and doing some stuff in between. And I've forgotten to turn the power supply back on again. And I was sitting there doing this voltage trying to adjust and thinking, why isn't this voltage changing? It's because the meter is just floating. It's just showing a floating voltage from the previous test. It wasn't actually powered. So, yeah, they do have an amazing input voltage, input impedance. But something you have to watch out for that. I actually picked up a new meter. I've actually had a few things arrive recently. Should I do a spoiler? Should I wait? I've got 2 more bits of test gear which arrived in the past week. I might leave it at that. Quite big bits of test gear. Come on, Fred, you're being a bad influencer. Telling me to let the leak out. Don't even know. I don't know. Do I let everyone know what I've got? One of the instruments is quite easy to tell you because I don't remember what it is. It's an HP something. I don't remember the number. I saw it, I thought, that's pretty cheap. I'll grab that. And so I did. I didn't actually need it, which is sometimes the case. I was giving me a funny look. What's that? Last stand suspense. Yeah, I've got a few people asking me now. Okay, fine. So one of them is a HP waveform generator, if you want to call it that. Function generator, whichever term you want to use. Don't remember the model number. It's quite a big bulky thing. No idea what condition it's in, don't know if it works. Hopefully it doesn't work because that's always the point of me getting these things. That was fairly cheap. Postage wasn't fairly cheap. The postage was more expensive than the thing I bought, as is becoming more and more frequent these days. So really what I've paid for it is probably what I'd sell it for if I were to sell it. So I'm not going to make any money on that one at all. Even if I might have to put $50 worth of parts in it to recap it and that sort of stuff. I'm guessing, maybe more, don't know. If that's the case, I'll probably be breaking even. I don't think I'm going to make any money on that at all. But I thought it'd be an interesting project to look at, and so hopefully it's broken. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit of a boring video. The other thing I purchased is another multimeter. And what I'm going to tell you is it's not a Datron. That narrows it down a bit. Just a little bit, not much. Whereas the other ones we're buying Datrons and stuff, you know, with a little Datron phase there. And I've got one more Datron to fix, which is still sitting there. Well, Datron multimeter. I've also got a Datron calibrator sitting there. Oh yes, from last week's stream, when we were looking at the frequency counter, that 2101 record Dana. Would it be an unboxing? Well, one of the items will be unboxed. The other one, I've already opened it up and checked it, just to make sure it's okay. I sort of done it's powered up so far and done a couple of basic measurements on it. So that was already out of the box, so I'll probably just demonstrate it on a mailbag or something and then go into it from there. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, the Vacol Dana from last week. When I was doing the stream last week, I should have followed my normal process, which is to check voltages, check supplies, all that sort of stuff, right? So we sort of jumped ahead. We did do some basic checking using a multimeter and stuff like that, which looked okay, at least on the surface. And then we dive into the RF side of it and trying to figure out what's going on with the RF side and see if there's anything missing and that sort of stuff, right? Try and trace that 10 megahertz signal around. Anyway, after the stream, it was kind of, hey Ian, how's it going? So after that stream, I sort of dug into it a bit more. I thought, well, I'm missing something here. So I used the oscilloscope to check the power rails. And here's another little spoiler. The power rails aren't clean. The multimeter said it's fine. The scope says nope, not clean. I think I've called them Marconi Datrons. No, I don't own them all yet. I've still got a few to go. Hey GB, I didn't know you were here. Yeah, so I think I might call in the Marconi multimeters. Ian, I was going to send you an email yesterday, actually. I was going to email you. I forgot to do it. How's that latest project you were talking about before? How's that going? Is that coming along all right? I know you ordered the boards before. Just wondering how that's progressing. I was going to email you yesterday, but I forgot about it. I had other things I was doing. Twitch. I've never really used Twitch. I think I've watched it once when Dave was doing a stream once, I think. Dave was streaming to Twitch, I think I looked at it and I had all kinds of problems. I couldn't get the bloody thing to work right. Yeah, it's just really buggy for me. I don't know why it was, maybe it's better now, but I've never tried streaming to Twitch. I don't have a Twitch account, I don't think. Unless I got one when I watched Dave on that number. But yeah, I'm not sure. But it's not something I've used. I know a lot of people do use Twitch. Maybe I'll look at it one day, but right now I'm just doing a single stream to YouTube. I don't know if I can actually. What's that software they use to stream to multiple platforms at once? I've forgotten what it's called. But it's getting a bit complicated for multiple streams and multiple chat streams, and yeah, it'll be a bit hard to manage on it. Yeah, monetizations. I've got it here already. I mean, I've got the super chat thing on here. If you want to donate and do super chat on here, I don't ask you to if you want to. That's great, but I don't expect it. You know, it's better than having to watch adverts on the videos. So yeah, but I don't know. Maybe I want to look at Twitch one day, but yeah. I'm just looking at this warning stuff from YouTube. YouTube saying, "Oh, my resolution's wrong. My resolution's wrong because it's." I don't know why it thinks my video resolution's bad. It's okay. It's, like, stream quality is fine. It says it's really good, but it's not like in. It says the resolution is not optimal. So I did try setting at 720 originally, and now I've got it set at 900. Strangely, right? So, yeah, I'm just not sure. Is it the aspect ratio, maybe? I'm not sure. I might have to look at these settings. I've only just installed OBS on this machine and set it up. So hopefully it's alright. I mean, I think it's going okay. As far as quality goes, I mean, it should be actually better quality normally than, well, resolution than my home stream. My home stream's only 720p. This is actually streaming at 900p. I've dropped 490 frames so far, which isn't too bad. Prototype's built DACers on long delivery. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, waiting for parts. That's a shame. Must be so frustrating. You just want to get it done, eh? Yeah, so. Yeah, I can imagine that frustration. Not waiting for parts, you just want to get the thing finished and you can't finish it because you don't have the bits you need. What are you waiting for, GB? What parts are you waiting for? Any thoughts on the Keysight competition? Yeah, enter it. Give it a go. I mean, I won a scope once from using that competition. I did a video submission. It's actually when I had the flood. I did that video submission once in the flood, so I was actually in the garage, in my workroom with only half a wall. Only the top half of the wall was there, the bottom half of the wall had been cut out because of the flood. And I showed a couple of bits of gear I was working on. One of those things happened to be a HP LCR meter. And I showed that in the video as my video submission for the test to impress. And that's how I won a scope, so give it a go. You never know. Might get lucky. I actually chat to Daniel Bogdanoff a bit on Twitter. So if you use Twitter at all, I'm on Twitter. So check me out on there. Well, I actually chat to Daniel quite a bit on there. He's the guy which is like the front man for Keysight. And I dropped a hint the other day. They actually sent me some gear to do, and he said just put me on the list. We'll see. But there's always issues with brand new gear having high demand and few units, so they have restricted numbers to give away. But apparently he's put me on the list, so we'll see. Never know. Maybe I'll get something. Maybe next year. Don't know. But no, I'm asking. Lots of passive you're missing. The Bosch GO2. Is it a Bosch Go-To, is it? I don't know what that is. Bit of DRO project. I'm not familiar with what that is. Yours sake it, you left Twitter. You ever been on Facebook? Facebook's. I don't use Facebook much. I use it for browsing around. I don't use Facebook Messenger. Electric screwdriver. Oh, okay. I thought it'd be some kind of tool being a Bosch. Yeah, I don't. I've got a Facebook page for the YouTube stuff, and obviously my own page and stuff like that. But I don't tend to use it. I tend to use it really for some of the electronics groups that are on there. So there's a few electronics groups. There's an old HP test gear group and vintage electronics group, stuff like that. So I'm on a couple of those because it's nice things to follow. You see some interesting things on there sometimes. Gives you ideas about things you could possibly buy. You know, I might see a bit of gear on there, think, oh, that looks quite good. I could maybe get one of those and have a look around and maybe find one. Or at least it's very interesting. That's about it. Buying bits directly from the manufacturer, that's good. Cheaper than DigiKey. Well, they've got to add their bit on, haven't they? They've got to add their cut on top of it. So it's quite a nice bit to get it cheaper, especially with the numbers you'll be doing. You know, you sell quite a few of those, I imagine. Made your own DRO for high accuracy linear measurement. Oh, okay. I'm not sure I'd know where to start, actually. My skill is in understanding how a circuit works and why it isn't working. That's my skill. Electronics design, not so much. I can do a bit. You know, I'm just good at understanding how things work and why they aren't working. I'm also looking through diagnostics. You ever touched them? Yeah, I don't really think there's a big loss there while I'm not using them. I use Twitter to help expose the channel a little bit more. You know, I'm on Twitter and I chat to a few people which I know on there, like say Daniel Bogdanoff, one of them, and Dave Jones. I chat to him occasionally on there a little bit, you know, so a little bit of banter here and there, backwards and forwards, and a few others, as well as some of my subscribers too, will pop up sometimes too. So that's kind of really what I use it for, just a bit of chat. It's not really great, but it's something. It's also another way people find my channel. You know, that's another reason I do it. I think that's actually the main reason I started on Twitter, was to help publicise the channel. So, use Facebook for Marketplace and Messenger, yeah. So I don't actually like Facebook Messenger because I've noticed that stuff you say on Messenger will then appear in your Facebook adverts and things like that. So they're actually monitoring what you're saying, and that's why I don't like it as well. There's my tinfoil hat gone. Not like it matters that much. It's not that interesting, but you know, I just don't think it's right. Yeah. Oh, Scully is electronic load. Yes, I've. He hasn't posted any videos for a long time. I'm wondering what happened there. Whether he's just given up, or whether he's not around anymore, or whatever. Because he was posting some good videos and interesting content, and that kind of changed, and they just sort of stopped. I think he had like a little bit of a delay there. He didn't post anything for a while. Then he did another one, then he just stopped. So I don't know. Maybe one of you guys know what the story is there. But he was doing some quite good stuff. It was very, very well explained. He went through a lot of detail. I was quite enjoying what he was making. Mystery. I've never even used WhatsApp. Never used it. Snapchat, never used that either. Hey Johnny, how's it going? Yeah, so the original stream was obviously canned because I was going to do, well, my plan was to go back to the Rack Dana 2101 and do the repair work on that and show what I found and demonstrate that and maybe try and get it going based on what I found, if what I found was what the cause was. But because of circumstances changing, as I explained earlier in the stream, nothing bad, just a need because of lockdown. I have to shift out of house because of lockdown so I can get to work. That's all it is. So I thought, well, I've got my laptop here. I need to kill some time. It's a Sunday. I've got nothing to do, sitting in this bus. So let's do a stream from this. So you built the load, but you have not completed it by fitting the Arduino Nano. Okay. So you had a blog going. Oh, okay. Yeah, starting to stop that too. Well, if it's still around after they stopped doing videos, at least it's probably still around, as it were. Oh, you know how to do it, Ian. Okay, cool. That's all right. That's fine. Cool. It's good to know. But so I used to enjoy his content. It's interesting. You know, I think I found him when he was working on the Fluke A842A, actually. I think he had one of those in his videos, if I remember rightly. And that's how I found him. Then I think I watched all of his videos now, actually. I think I watched all of them. So, yeah, John, it's not mysterious. All it is got, I explained it earlier in the stream, I'll say it again anyway, for those which weren't here at the time. Auckland's gone to lockdown for a week, and I live outside the Auckland boundary. My work is in Auckland, which means I cannot get to work. Now, in the past lockdowns, I've either been at home, well, I've not been at home the whole time, but I've been paid. But I've always been told each time it may not happen again. I may not get paid next time. Now, because it's on the good grace of my employer. And they're pretty generous, they do look after the employees quite well, so I'm not looking for a bad company, right? But they aren't getting compensated by the government because there is no stipulation for compensation for the government or government support for employees that cannot get to work because of the boundary. So the company is still operating. It's pretty much an essential service, kind of. It's borderline, kind of as essential service, and they're operating. But me not being there doesn't mean that they lose a lot of money. They lose some money, but not enough to impact too much. So they can't claim any government subsidies, and so they are not getting paid for me not being there. So, anyway. So you got a different variant of it if you haven't. Made some changes to it. Oh, okay. Because I think he did put all the files out there, didn't he? He did actually cover it all quite well, didn't he? I can't remember. I didn't look at that particular project too deeply. I know he had the parallel MOSFETs and he had the resistors in there and stuff like that, you know, to help balance the loading across the MOSFETs and stuff like that. So I did some of the detail in the video when he's doing them. I think he was still developing, wasn't he? When the last video wasn't actually finished. So yeah, that's what I remember anyway. I could be remembering it wrong. But my perspective is the more people that do electronics YouTubing, the better. You know, more people that produce content related to electronics, great. You know, I don't see it as competition. I see it as a community, and you know, the more people which help each other out like that is good. You know, like the same thing as like Dave does as well. Dave is very supportive of other YouTube channels. Dave is very supportive of other YouTube channels, electronics YouTubers, stuff like that. He's very supportive of that. For exactly the same reasons. His perspective is the same as mine. The more, the better. So it's quite good. So if you ever think about doing YouTubing or streaming or electronics content, then just do it. Don't worry about production quality. Don't worry about looking like an idiot. You might look like an idiot, but no one's going to care. If you get any haters, we all get haters. Or people, you know, trolls popping up, just block them. Don't have to deal with that one ever again. Doesn't matter. You know. Okay, Johnny, no problem. Thanks for dropping by. And 9.3 was the latest version, was it? So I haven't looked at that for a while. So it was, I don't know, it's probably about a year or so ago. Last time I looked at Skullcom's videos, and I did pop back a couple of months ago actually, just to see if there's anything new. No, nothing. So extended keyboard. Oh yeah. I actually got approached by a company which do like membrane keyboards. So they like control panel stuff. You know, they got this smooth membrane keyboard, the PET panel, whatever it is. So with the dome buttons and things like that. I got approached by a company asking if I was interested in a sponsorship thing. And I was interested because it actually would suit a project that I've worked on. Those the FarmTech timer modules, actual scribe units, which has got a box of the buttons on it, which I did a video on a year ago and featured a couple of times. And I thought, right, because I want to make those waterproof. I can get those waterproof. And what's limiting that is the actual buttons, because they're mechanical buttons and they have to stick through the front panel and stuff like that. So trying to put a film over the top would be a bit tricky, maybe not robust enough, that sort of thing. So I was looking at his membrane keyboards anyway. This company contacted me. I thought, this is good. I could use that. I could do a review on that and, you know, feature them. But they're not cheap. So their sponsorship was basically a large discount. Well, a discount was a large discount. Because they had, I think it's like $20 for new sign-ups. They're $20 credit on your account, so when you join their site to order all this stuff. So you get $20 off straight away. And then the sponsorship they offer me, I think it's like $30 extra for sponsorship, so I get $50 off basically from the order. But for what I need to make and the quantity I need, it still cost me about $250 US. I mean, tempting, very tempting, because it would potentially solve a problem I've got, but it would mean redesigning my project into around this particular unit. But to me, a sponsorship should be fully paid for, not partially paid for, if you know what I mean. So if they gave me the panels for free, then yeah, sure. So I'm kind of on the fence with that one. I mean, yes, it'd be a nice thing to cover in a video. Yes, it'd be helpful to me, but it's going to involve me paying for it to give them exposure, if you know what I mean, which doesn't seem right to me. So I'm kind of on the fence. It is something which I say I would potentially use. the videos are supposed to be for you, right? So I'm sort of, I don't know, it's a tricky one. So when I started doing videos, it was to show what I was doing in the hope that it helped somebody else. So I was trying to document what I was finding based on a bit of a history here. So when I was doing CB repair work, right, I'd see the same problems over and over again on the same models. I could fix the radio pretty quickly because I know it's that part there, because that part always fails, right? You see the same faults over and over again. So you get to be pretty quick at doing that because you know what you're going to see, what likely failures there are, what the cascading effects can be, and that sort of stuff, right? So even quite complex radios, you could get quite quick at fixing them because you knew where the common failures were. And I was doing that. I was that in mind for CB work, doing CB coverage. I've done some CB videos, done a few. But I thought I'll do something for test gear when I do test gear repairs, which kind of evolved because I wanted to buy more test gear and I wanted to try and fix stuff. So I thought, well, if I show what I'm doing and showing the things that I'm seeing, it's possible somebody else will get the same fault. They'll be able to follow my video, see what I did to fix that fault, and replicate it and fix their piece of gear. So I did it kind of as a assisting people thing. And then it was also a documentation thing for me too. So if I ever have to go back to a piece of gear in the future, I know what I've done or what fault used to be present in case it's had some kind of a cascading effect which wasn't apparent at the time. So I can go back, I did that bit of circuitry, so maybe it's affected this piece over here because it's connected, It's that kind of thing as well. And it's all kind of evolved. Oh, I've got a Peter. Gave me $5, mate. Very generous, thank you very much. Peter is a supporter of the channel already. He's a Patreon, etc. He's rather generous, giving me another $5. Thanks, Peter. So, what was my point I was trying to get to? I completely lost the point I was trying to get to. What was I going to say? Yeah, that's right. Okay, reason why I make the videos. So I was doing the videos for me and to help other people out which are in the same situation. This isn't dropped, isn't it? So don't worry about trying to make content for like other people. What you want people to think they want. I'm going to say, make it things you want to make. Right? You don't have to worry about. I want to try and meet this demand. You think this particular group of people might want to watch this kind of video. And to a point, yes, that's in there, but don't do it because of that, because it'll become a chore, right? There's lots of YouTubers that come and gone because they're trying to make content for an audience, and they actually lose the enjoyment from it, right? So you have to do videos because you enjoy it. You have to do it because you're passionate about it. You can't just do videos for the sake of trying to meet a need. You have to do videos because you enjoy doing it, and that's the bit there which can be tricky. That's why lots of YouTubers just come and go because they get tired of it because they do it for wrong reasons. Maybe they start for the right reasons and they maybe morph into doing something else, and because it does become part of chasing the numbers, right? I certainly know about that. You're trying to fulfill people's wants at the same time as producing content. So it does go a bit from doing it for fun, doing it because that's what you want to do, to realising, no, people want to see this kind of content because that's more popular. And so you try and gravitate towards that a little bit and fulfill people's wants, right? But if you go too far off of what your passion is about and what your enjoyment is, it becomes a chore. And people don't like doing chores. And so it becomes a hassle. And once it becomes a hassle, you don't want to do it anymore. And so it's about doing what you enjoy. I do videos because I enjoy it. Right? I fix things because I enjoy it. Test gear was the morphing part. I used to be CBs, right? I used to really do a lot of CB work. Well, a lot for New Zealand, I think. It's a pretty small market here. There's not much CB around anymore, even. So, yeah, that's what I was doing. And then the test gear thing was the morphing part for me, right? So, getting better test gear was my motivation for buying broken stuff, fixing it, then I could use it, right? So that's where that test gear side of it started out. Because I already had test gear, but it was old, it wasn't very good or whatever, you know. I had some nice stuff, but generally it wasn't particularly great stuff. I'm in a much better position now, but when I first started out, not so much. Hey, Generation, how's it going? Haven't seen you before either. I'll catch up with chat in a second. I'm waffling right now. So the but yeah, what I'm trying to say is do it for you. Don't worry about what everybody else wants. Do the videos you want to make. If you want to make videos about, I don't know, dogs, make a video about dogs. You want to make a video about fishing, do fishing. You know, if you want about electronics, great, do electronics. If there's a certain aspect of electronics you want to make videos about, do it. If this is about what you're doing, great. If this is about something you want to try and teach people, do that too. You know, but make sure it's something you want to do, not just doing it because you're trying to fill a gap, or you know, trying to meet someone's expectations. So my test gear stuff's been because I wanted to get more test gear and get better test gear, and well, it's worked. I've got some quite nice stuff now. But I mean, most of that probably, I don't know, probably 90% of the gear I've got stuff I've fixed. Maybe a bit less than that, 80% probably. 80% of the gear is stuff I've bought, broken and fixed. So that's how I've got it. And, you know, making videos about fixing it was great as well, you know, so. Anyway, let's catch up with chat. So someone on Amazon used your video, it didn't subscribe, and it's watermarked with your number, well, your ID. But okay, well, at least it's got your watermark on it still. Some people strip those off. So maybe don't worry about it, because it may mean people will find you because they'll see the watermark and come try and find you. Giving credit would have been nice though. Yeah. I know I've had a couple of times where in YouTube Studio there's a copyright flag in there, or a copyright section. You can go in there and see if anybody else has been matched with your video. So YouTube will sometimes find a video which is yours, which has been re-uploaded by somebody else. I've had a few of those, not many. Yeah. What are my views? Fiasco right to repair. Well, yeah. My opinion of right to repair is, I believe if you own it, you should be able to do what the hell you want with it. You should be able to buy parts for it. You should be able to do whatever you want. Okay, there should be no restrictions. There should be no manufacturer locks. Maybe on intellectual property, I can understand that, but otherwise, no. Why can't a manufacturer sell you parts for something which breaks, right? If your headphone jack breaks, why can't you buy a new headphone jack from the manufacturer? Well, in some cases you can. Sometimes you can't. You have to find them from the manufacturer of the headphone jack, right? You have to go looking for that jack and find that, and then bypass the manufacturer of the equipment. You know, you should be able to buy the parts for the thing you own, at least for a reasonable period of time. You have to be realistic about it. You can't be going for 10 years and go, oh, I expect to buy that jack in 10 years' time. You have to be realistic. Say 5-year lifetime, right? I think that's 5 years is a reasonable lifetime to expect for things. But for companies to then say, oh, we're not going to sell you that part because we don't want you to fix it because we think you're going to break it. Well, if it's already broken, does it matter? If you break it, does it matter? Because then you will have to buy a new one from the manufacturer. All they're doing is making it so that you can't fix that device, so you have to buy a new one from the manufacturer. Well, I haven't bought a new Apple device in years. Reason being, because of this crap they're doing. Right? I'm using an iPhone 6s. Reason is, well, it's not got that particular phone, because it's got a headphone jack on it still. Right? I use a headphone jack every single day, whilst charging and all sort of stuff, and it's plugged into my car and all that sort of things like that, right? So headphones, I use it every day. I won't be getting a newer phone. The 6S is where I'm going to go. If because of Apple's policy for locking down devices tighter and tighter, making it harder and harder to get parts, I don't really support Apple. This computer I'm on right now, this is an old MacBook. This is a 2012 MacBook Pro. 2012, right? It works fine for what I do. I'm not going to be buying a new one because of the way they lock everything down and they make parts really hard to get. So I'm really anti that stuff, right? Everything should be repairable, right? Worried about rubbish, right? E-waste and environmental pollution and that sort of stuff. How much pollution does it make to make one device, then throw it away in 2 years' time and make another device versus one small part, you know? There's finite resources in the world. You can't just keep on like that. You can't keep going using up all the resources and then go, oh, it's fine. Well, eventually we're going to run out of copper. Then what? Eventually you're going to run out of oil. Then you don't have plastics anymore because a lot of plastics are oil-based. Then what? You know? Don't have plastics, don't have copper. Things get a bit awkward. No plastics means no insulators, by the way. No wires. No flex cables. Anyway. That's that rant. Anyways, carry on reading the chat. Yeah, exactly what helmet. Repairs must be enjoyable first. Yes, exactly. The videos I do as a byproduct of me doing repairs. In a way. I mean, I buy stuff to do the videos. I mean, the stuff I buy, which I wouldn't otherwise be getting, right, in order to make content. But I'm not doing it to make the content. I'm doing it to do the repair, to video it. If you know what I mean, it's sort of it's messy, I suppose. But some things I wouldn't be buying because I don't actually need them. I'm buying them because I wanted to make a video about it. So in that case, it's kind of generating for that. But I'm still doing it because I enjoy it. It's not doing it because I'm trying to meet a need as much, you know. Am I in the Starship Enterprise? No. Hey, Abuski, how's it going? Reflections on my screen. Tip it back slightly. Enjoy repairs. No, actually work. Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, I debated going to the electronics industry. I mean, I almost went to electronics. I almost did it. But I thought, well, I don't want my hobby to be my job. Although kind of it's morphing into that, I suppose. But so I went. My job is something completely different to electronics. It's completely different. But some of the skill sets are the same. So that keeps it interesting, I suppose. Yeah. Fix the old industrial equipment. No. GB, yeah. It sounds interesting. Sounds sort of thing I'd like to do, actually, to be honest. How that shouldn't be bloody glued in or sealed. Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's a power brick, I can understand them being made hard to open. I mean, years ago, though, it didn't used to be ultrasonically welded. They had big screwed together, so you could actually open it up and fix it. Yeah. Having to cut the case open is a pain, then glue them shut again. Having the diagrams available, yeah, that makes a big difference. Makes a big difference. I've got, I don't know how many diagrams and manuals of different bits of gear. Every time I've worked on something, or thought I was going to work on something, I went searching for the diagrams and manuals and got copies of them. Yeah. What a pine phone? What's a pine phone? I'm not familiar. My work is essential, kind of. I mean, in the very first lockdown, which was for 6 weeks, my company shut down as a level 4 lockdown, which is the highest level here. That it had shut down. There was no work. But then they realised that actually we do kind of need these products because they are used for essential services. And so people got called into work to go and start up the plant and make product because they needed them. And so in the lockdown since that one, it's carried on working because it is kind of essential. Although when I was talking to a police officer in the last lockdown, I was trying to get through the cordon. He didn't believe it was essential, and so I couldn't get through. So that was it for that. But I tried. Even though we make stuff for infrastructure and things like that. So infrastructure is considered an essential service. Infrastructure and wastewater systems, stuff like that, is considered essential services, right? Well, we support that industry. So yeah, it was surprising it's not considered essential service by officials anyway. But yeah, we won't go into that. Don't worry about it. I've waffled about that enough. The living in a vehicle was by choice. I could have stayed home and done some projects and done some electronic stuff and tinkered around and done stuff there and plotted around home quite happily. But there's a potential I wouldn't get paid. So, which is why I've decided to come into the cordon area, into the border area, and live in this motorhome for a week to see how things go. If I get sick of it, I can always go home. They will let us go home. So that's the fine, you know. Just have to prove we live somewhere else, and they will let us through to go home. But that's about it. Anyway. Yeah, the repair stuff is do it because I enjoy it. You know, I like the diagnostics and trying to figure out things and bringing things back. I don't like to see waste as well. Things. What really annoys me actually, probably my biggest bugbear, if you go on eBay, places like that, and you see circuit boards out of bits of gear, and you'll see they got this board and that board. They've basically got all the boards out of a piece of gear, and they've parted it out to try and maximise the return on the piece of gear, right? So, you know, I'm selling a board for $300 or $400, and they might have 10 boards in a bit of gear, for example. So they make a lot of money out of it, versus selling a broken piece of gear for $1,000, right? So they strip the thing out, and that's what I don't like. I mean, I'd rather see a piece of gear sold intact as not working, but someone like me can pick it up and fix it, and then, you know, rescue it. I mean, sure, these boards being available may allow someone to buy it and fix their own piece of gear, but there's a good chance that someone may never buy that board and it'll end up getting junked, and then you've lost the entire piece of equipment. Anyway. What do I use for editing my videos? I use Adobe Premiere, or Premiere Pro. It's an older version. I use 5.5, CS 5.5. Reason being is after 5.5, I think I might have done 6 actually, they changed to a subscription model. So you pay monthly or annually to use the software, and you get updates, stuff like that. It's all fine, but the thing is, I kind of disagree with the subscription model. And I think once you've purchased the software, you should be able to use that software until the end of time. Right? You own it, do what you want with it. Updates, sure, I can understand paying extra for updates, or not having availability of updates. That's fine. But to then basically have to pay every month to continue using it. And the other thing is, if you cease your subscription, you can't use the software anymore at all. So you can't even open your old projects or work on anything you've already previously done. You get locked out of it. You can't do it anymore. So I'm very much against this whole subscription model. I think you should just buy the software. You own the rights to use that version of that software until the end of time. I don't like that. I think it's just people making them. No, it's profiteering. That's what I'm looking for. Profiteering. You know, it's just people maximising their money. So you might spend $1,000 on a piece of software once, and that will last you 10 years, versus paying was it about $30 a month? Is it? So that's $300 a year. So after 3 years, they're making a lot more money. You know, yeah. It's just a way of ripping you off, basically, getting more money. It's purely commercial greed. You know. I'm letting a lot of my opinions out there today, aren't I? It's quite interesting. I wonder if I'm going to annoy a few people. Do I know of any websites for vintage old test gear? Looking to research implantable devices, biomedical, low power. Recommendation: basic lab gear. There's lots of specialist websites out there, but you'd be paying above the average price for things. That's probably the best way of putting it. It's getting darker here. I think it's going to rain soon. It's getting darker, so my picture's probably a bit grainy and stuff. So you could get specialist sites like that where they do specialise in test gear. I mean, there's a site in New Zealand which specialises in test gear, and I did buy stuff from them. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I would say just use eBay. You know, just look on eBay and just do a search for things you want and save a search, so it'll email you a notification when that particular device comes up, and then you can maybe get it at a good price, or at least you'll monitor the prices and see what things are going for. Okay, Andrew, catch you later, mate. Yeah, prices in astronomical, exactly. Yeah, for bits and pieces. Video studio. Okay, $100, that's all right. Valuetronics, I've heard of that name. I think actually was that. I may have built stuff off them from eBay, I think. Look for items on eBay, try and list it properly. Yes, that's a good tip too. I've seen stuff which has been incorrectly listed and it's been cheaper because they don't actually know what they've got. That's helpful. But unfortunately, a lot of stuff like test gear does tend to go through, you know, it's like company liquidation, stuff like that, so it does go through auction houses and they do a bit more research, usually. DaVinci Resolved, I think I've looked at DaVinci and I think I used it, well, I think I poked around, I don't think I actually used it. Pretty sure I just opened up and look around and tried to familiarise myself with it a little bit, but because I've got Premiere Pro and I'm comfortable with it, I wouldn't say I'm proficient. I can use it to do what I need to do. This thing's got so much stuff which is incredible, but yeah, so I think I kind of stuck with it because I couldn't be bothered learning a new software. One of the things I do have though is that, or the issues I have, is because I'm using Premiere Pro CS 5.5, that restricts me to the maximum operating system I can use is macOS 10.12, which is an old system. Anything later than that, it won't work on. So that's actually holding back. So my systems on all my computers are old as well. So my system software is old. And one of the issues I've had is my iPhone. I used to be able to do things like sharing between the two. So like I can have a web page open on this computer, for example, and I can open up on my iPhone and carry on with that web page. It'll be a little tab and I can look at the screens and the tabs from the other machine. That used to work until an iOS update. I think it's iOS 13, I think, stopped that. So actually, Apple intentionally limited features on my phone, which I used to have. They removed features to force the system on the computer to be updated, which means in some cases it's forcing people to update their computers as well. So to use that feature on the phone, some people have to update their computer to have a newer operating system. Profiteering by the richest company on the planet. Amazing, isn't it? Anyway, Shortcut. I'm not familiar with that one. I haven't heard of it. Bear in mind, I'm on a Mac, so I don't use PC. Generally, I do have access to PC, a PC laptop, which is an old one. Battery's knackered on it. Don't really use it for much apart from playing with test gear. So anything I do is on a Mac. I'm very much Mac based. I've been using Macs for 30 years, right? So that's my ecosystem, is the Mac ecosystem, right? So love or hate it, that's what I'm on. But as much as I hate the way that Apple's profiteering on things, it used to be when Steve Jobs was around, things were better in that way. It was very much user focused. Now it's company focused. Now it's all about making profits. shift has changed anyway. And I wish people would start realising that and stop buying Mac stuff, to be honest, because they need to learn that what they're doing is not right. Anyway, more opinions everywhere. Yeah, it's very opinionated stream, this one. I'm at the coffee again. And my wife's gone out. Yes. I don't know, what can I waffle about now? Yeah, the Apple of today is very different to what it used to be. I mean, Apple used to be the big minority, right? Small company, very niche, very much focused on like graphics and art studios kind of work, you know. Really good for graphic stuff, you know, like photo editing and stuff. That's their focus, and that's what they're good for as business in that way. Not like spreadsheet style stuff. Wasn't great for that. But yeah. So the YouTube app doesn't work on the Mac Mini anymore, on the Apple Mini, iPad Mini. See, that's just obsolescence, isn't it? You know, a piece of gear which is perfectly functional, and the software is outdating it. Yeah, I really don't like that. That's just wrong, you know. They're intentionally crippling old stuff to make you buy new stuff, and that's creating a huge amount of wastage, unnecessarily. Yeah. Well, once enough for 68Ks. Well, I've had the first Mac was an Apple Mac 2, yeah, Mac 2, right? Which is an old big boxy thing, right? I think it came with originally a 10 megabyte hard drive. As well, my parents' computer, they were using it for business, but that's what I was using too. And then I got upgraded to a 2X, which gave it a bit more power, more RAM. I think we ended up with 8 megabytes of RAM, something like that. It was expensive too. Upgraded hard drive to 240, which ended up being 40 megabyte hard drive. And I actually still had that computer 20 years ago. I still had it in my possession. And I ended up selling it because I thought, well, I'm not using it anymore. And I ended up flipping it off. And I didn't sell it very much, and it's probably worth a lot more money now. I should have just kept it. It's in working condition, everything. And it had upgraded graphics card and things like that, so it could actually do big screens, which is a big feature as well, big cost. Then so it went from that. Then I had a Apple 9500. It's like a tall tower, right? Tower. So that 9500. Then I had a, which I upgraded as well. I think I did. What did I do upgrades on that one for? Upgraded processor. You can upgrade the processor with an aftermarket from Otherworld Computing. I think it was. Did that? I think it was. Then I had the G4 tower. The original, was it the second gen? I think the second gen G4. I think it was. Had that one. Again, I upgraded the processor in that later on. Beefed it up. Got the cache in it and stuff like that. Still got it actually. Still got that computer in the garage. And then I went to well, around the same time actually two computers. That one also had a G3 as well, which is the desktop, the wider one. Was it 7300? I think it was. I think that's what it's called. That one of those as well. Also upgraded processor, beefed it up as well, maxed it out. And then after that, I had, I think it went from the G4 to my Mac Pro, 2008 Mac Pro. Went from that. I bought that brand new. That was $5,000. I think it was something like that. It's horrendous. I've still got that computer. It's in my garage as my second computer in my other lab. And a few years ago, I bought a 2010 Mac Pro, but that's got upgraded RAM, upgraded firmware in it, stuff like that. So it's treated like a 2012, I think it is. It's basically the same machine. The only difference was firmware. So that's been upgraded. So it's basically like a 2012 Mac Pro. That is what I'm using at home Windows. So my home computer is basically a 2012 computer. This laptop is a 2012 computer. So I'm 9 years behind the times. Probably not so good for video editing and trying to do encoding. It's slow. But, yeah. I did some upgrade videos on those computers as well. Those Mac Pros. I did some videos on those showing the upgrading of them. Anyway. Shifting from Windows to Mac was the best thing you did. Yeah, I hate Windows. It drives me nuts. Sure, I can use it, and I'm familiar with it. I can use it fine, but the way that things will update and break everything, I do an update in the background. You use your computer next day, and suddenly your printers don't work anymore. Boom! Oh, what's happened there? And you go back and find, oh no, there's a Windows update. It broke everything, or your print settings break. Wife's PC. She uses the laptop. She's on a PC, and what's what I've done that for? Just clicked on Premiere for some reason. Don't want that. I was just trying to click on the window. Anyway, so she's on the PC, and the amount of times that things have gone wrong, like the be at show, go to print. Oh look, the printers don't work anymore. Gee, thanks Windows. Or the print settings have changed, so the print will work, but for some reason all the margins have changed just a little bit. So when you get a print on a pre-printed card, which has got text already, I'll put things in certain spots on the card, things don't line up anymore because suddenly the margins have all changed, even though you're using a template which you created. It worked fine for years, and suddenly it doesn't work anymore. It just, all just shifts a little bit. So yes, it's kind of frustrating in that way where Windows does things that breaks other things. Yes. I would actually like to get a newer Mac, but the prices are too much, Not a new one, a newer one. Like the, say, 2013 Mac Pro, for example. Just like 1 year newer, the newest generation. Just to get that speed bump. But I wouldn't be buying anything brand new. I would never buy a brand new Mac again, ever, because it's ridiculous pricing. Ridiculous pricing, and they rip you off. So, in my opinion, of course. Got a Sign 3, eh? Yeah, well, was it the M1 CPU, I think it is? Well, I think it's good at some tasks. From what I've heard, I don't know not much about it, but from what little I've heard, on the surface it appears super fast, but in reality it's not so much. If you give it something really intensive, it bogs down. So it's got like a big cache or something in it, maybe, so it could do really minor tasks really quickly. But when you try and do something more intensive like video editing, then it's no faster. I believe. That's what I understand anyway. Like Strange Parts, he mentioned on Twitter, he's picked up in one laptop, I think. I think he noticed something like that. He had some issues with it. I think it was him. It was actually not much better in the end. You got a sign organizer somewhere. Yeah, I actually had two sign organizers. I had a 32K and a 64K. 32K I had since new. The 64K I picked up 20 years ago, I think. It had the EEPROM packs in it and stuff like that for the back, the little games pack and a calculator pack and the memory module, which was an EEPROM. So once you filled the memory up, you had to wipe the EEPROM with a UV light. And the 32K I actually sent to Dave to do a teardown on. Only to find out that Dave already done a teardown on that one. He didn't even touch it. He did it in the mailbag. It showed up, and he picked it up and go, oh yeah, I've done one on this. I'm not going to put it apart. Like, oh crap, that was a waste of time. So I gave him the one which I had since new. I gave him that one, and that ended up not being the item I thought it'd be for him anyway. I didn't realise I'd already done a teardown one before, so there's no point doing the same job twice. I can understand that. But, yeah, I've still got the 64, and that still works. I powered it up last year. It still powers up. Still works. It's fine. There was you could get a printer for them and stuff like that. I think I've got an adapter cable or something. I think it might have been a power supply adapter. I can't remember now. But, yeah, I think I actually lost some bits over the years. Yeah. You know the Newton. Oh yeah. In the garage somewhere here. Well, I've got a box of random stuff, I suppose. Those like big transparent boxes, polyethylene boxes. I've got it stuffed in there somewhere. Yeah. So I turned it on the other day, well, last year, and it still worked. So that's good. Considering what must be 30 years old, those things, eh? The Palm Pilot. I knew someone had one of those. They used to live on the thing. It had everything in it. The life was the Palm Pilot. It was incredible. Yeah. It's funny how those old organisers like that, you know, they're cutting edge of the day, and look at them now, I think that's a joke. But at the time, they're really impressive. Okay, that was noisy.
It's a bit aggressive, isn't it?
Yeah. Siemens SX45. I'm not familiar with that one. Yeah, it's a new one. I mean, I've heard of Siemens, but not the SX45. I don't know what that is. Yes, this wasn't quite the live stream I'm planning to do. Yes, it was. Yes, do work, and we can come back here and sit here in the evenings. That's all right. It's only for a week, hopefully. So professional mobile multimedia device. Okay. First one part, no USB. Was USB even a thing back then? I'm not sure it was. I think it came out after then, wouldn't it? Would have been after that. Would have had a serial port, wouldn't it? Must have had a serial port. That's the sort of thing they had, wasn't it? Serial port support, so you could print to a printer or something like that. Serial printer. That's kinds of devices, that kind of thing. Dock was 9-pin serial. Oh yeah, DB9. Yeah, it's funny how computing's gone, isn't it? How it's come from those kinds of devices to what we have now. And do you think one of the devices you can buy these days will still be working 10 years? 20 years? Definitely not. Everything's now designed to be made obsolete very quickly, especially by software, as we were discussing before. Just still too rough.
What does somebody think of the lighting?
Yeah, the lighting's better. Well, it's come down. It's 29 degrees now. It's got a little bit cooler.
It's a bit overcast with the palm.
That's good. Also got one of the first black roos. Oh yeah. I'm sure it's just making it worse. Sure. Probably worse. How's that look? Probably worse. Yeah. Okay. Analog phone club aerials. Actually had an interesting phone, strangely. Not a, well, it's a cordless phone, not a cell phone. And it's in the UK, and it wasn't actually legal in the UK. It had a range of something like 5 kilometres. That was interesting. Had a big antenna on it, and the base station had a big antenna on it. And yeah, it's interesting. It was a big brick, not as you expect, but it was a house phone, a cordless house phone that had a massive range on it. It was like for rural locations, so you could be out in your fields and you could take a phone call. That would have been probably about 1990, I suppose, around there, in that kind of region. Yeah, it would have been 90. 20 years ago, 30 years ago. 20 years, 30 years ago. It's old, isn't it? Old.
All the grey in your beard.
There's no grey in my beard. I had a Jag with a mobile phone.
Is the phone the size of a briefcase?
Could an operator put you through in the 70s? In the 70s? Wow. You were very advanced then, weren't you? Yeah. A mate of mine would have been around the 90s. He had a mobile phone, those big case ones, with briefcase sort of thing. Massive battery in it, lasted about an hour, I think. He used to think it was the Dutch is the old, as we used to call a yuppie. The yuppie.
Shiny grey suit.
Yeah, he used to think he was all that. Bit of a character. Yeah. In the dunger of a car, and you had that phone in there, thinking he's all that. Trying to impress the ladies. Odd. Jag phone is more like a radio, no dials on. Oh, okay. So it's more like just a radio communications thing, and then you ask the operator to connect you to a phone line, I suppose. So it's just a relay system, I suppose. Brings the parts of the Tetra system, I wouldn't know. I know they're all, I think, basically all digital now, digital systems. It used to be analog systems, and I used to spend a lot of time listening to a scanner, just listening to what's going on, just get the police out there doing the job, going and putting over people and that sort of stuff, and hear what's going on. It's quite interesting, just listen to that for hours and hours. And but then it went digital, and I've listened to it since. So the only thing is, I've got a scanner in the front of the bus here. I've got one sitting here, and don't really use it because there's nothing to listen to. It does digital as well, but you have to know the encoding and stuff like that, and you program it from a laptop, and just haven't bothered. I think I've used it maybe twice as I put the thing in. I don't know, 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it might even still work. I don't know. Is it? It's a Uniden I've got my model number now. The trunking scanner anyway does that sort of stuff. Way out of date now. Your uncle got a brand new car in the 90s just to get the phone. That wasn't me that had the phone, it was a mate of mine that did it. Mine was a StarTech. StarTech, I've heard of that somewhere. Rings a bell. Was that the briefcase phone? No. No, right, okay. Yeah. Keeping like base stations for old phones with an SDR. Oh, yeah. Well, I've got that, I don't know if you're familiar, I've got a CMU 200 which does cellular stuff. I actually have one. It's got a lot of features in it as well. I don't know how well kitted out it is, but it does cellular. But I've got that stuff turned off, got those features turned off because I don't really use it for the spectrum analyzer aspect and the modulation and stuff like that. Not like I use it that much anyway, but yeah. I've got one. That was something I picked up broken as well and fixed that. Did a little video on it. Well, I don't think it was very broken. I think it was just reference is bad. Something like that. I think. Don't know too well. Might have actually been fine, I don't know. Marine radio telephone. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, because that's just radio, isn't it? So yeah, yeah. Pages. Oh, pages, that's right.
I had a pager.
There used to be a pager at work for the office phone. So if someone needed you to get hold of you, they'd page you and you'd have to go to the office phone. That was annoying. It was mainly for weekend work and stuff like that when you're in charge. And you had to be on call, but on call people used to take them home. And so if something went wrong, they'd get paged, so they'd have to phone up the office and find out what's going on. And possibly go and get called into work for no pay. Some places still have pages, really, it's still around. I suppose they might still have a use. I don't know, maybe emergency services like volunteer fire. No, they used to have them. They used to have pages, they get called in. Oh, yeah. Oh, they used to do it. I don't know if they still do. At least you can get away from work, yeah, exactly. Hospitals still use them. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, they used to use them. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I suppose in some ways it's a nice, simple, efficient system, isn't it? You know, pages we do still have a pretty good usage. You know, not completely obsolete. Yeah. Well, I'm getting a bit tired with my throat here, getting a bit sore, so I think I might call it a day. I'm talking way too much. But it would have been nice to be able to fix something, but, you know, we're in here. My next home instalment, well, the event we're supposed to work, well, we're supposed to be working an event this weekend, that got cancelled because of the last lockdown. Then we were supposed to be working an event next weekend, which has also just been cancelled because of this lockdown. So I might be at home next weekend, depending on what happens. Don't know. If the lockdown gets extended, then I might still be here. If it doesn't, then it finishes. Then I'll probably go home and I might do a live stream next weekend at the usual time. So, and if that's the case, then I'll be fixing something. I'll probably be doing that Red Coral Dana when I finish that and get that covered and overview with what I found on that thing. Kind of, I haven't actually resolved any problems. I've just identified something which we missed in the previous stream, which we shouldn't have missed because I didn't do it right, basically. So, why I feel shocked I didn't do something right.
I'm shocked you admitted it.
Why? If I make a mistake or get something wrong, I'll say it. Anyway. So, yeah, we missed something on that one. So something which we should have picked up, which we've missed. So I want to carry that on if we can, but it depends on what happens with this lockdown. If lockdown finishes, then I'll do a live stream next weekend. Otherwise, I probably won't. Or I might do another chat thing like this. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway. And yesterday I started making tea. She made me 3 coffees already, I think.
I have.
Yeah, made 3 coffees already this morning. Okay, well thanks everyone for dropping in and hanging out and killing a few hours of my time because I've got plenty more time to kill yet. And I'll catch you whenever. Yes, I'll catch you whenever that will be. Next live stream or big videos published as normal anyway. That's not going to change. I've got videos to edit here as well, so I can do that from here. So I'll catch you later. Thanks for dropping by. I'll catch you later. Bye.